Okay, so I got a welder. We're going to try and do some welding today. We're going to perform all the steps needed to do some welding. I think I've done enough research on it that I can at least give it a shot without injuring myself or others. So we're going to try this thing out and see how it works. This is one of those cheap welders from eBay. I think it was only like 150 bucks. We're just gonna try to do some simple TIG welding on steel and see how that works out. Maybe it's gonna be good, maybe it's gonna be bad. I really have no idea, but we'll see. And here we go. So one of the first things you gotta do is grind up some tungsten. This is some pretty tricky stuff. I'm gonna use just the side of this grinding stone. This is a brand new stone. You're not supposed to use the stone for anything else because you contaminate the tungsten. But I figure if I get a really good angle on it like this, right on the edge right here, I can have a lot of that grain going in this direction, because you're not supposed to have the grain going sideways because I guess the arc can wander while you're trying to weld. So I just got this thing hit off to the side a little bit and put my safety glasses on, and I figure I could get a pretty decent point on it just by doing it like this on the grinder. This is the fine wheel that came with this grinder, but we'll see if I can get it sharpened okay. Let's see how it comes out here. That looks a little bit better, but there is kind of a bit of a twist. There's kind of a bit of a twist on there. Ooh, that's hot. Shocker. Doesn't seem to be too bad. But I'm a beginner. It's my first time doing this stuff ever, so we'll see how it works. Might end up okay. We'll see. Okay, for the next step in this process, we're gonna put this the torch together. So I had to cut down that piece of tungsten because it was too long. It wasn't gonna fit in this. So I cut it down and I sharpened the other end, because apparently when you're first starting out, you dip the ends of the tungsten in there pretty often. So I took Chucky 2009's advice and I sharpened both ends of this after cutting it in half. I found this stuff is kind of a little difficult to put together because this thing wants to cross thread on this. I'm guessing you gotta put the, see here, the collar goes in that way. Put that in after this though. Let's see. It's gonna go in here first. Actually, let's put that on after. It's kind of a pain to get this thing to slip in here, so we'll just take that and get it slipped on, and then we'll screw it onto the cup like that. See, it's like going all sideways. Ended up okay though. So get that on there nice and tight, and then got this collet that the tungsten goes through, and this was the good end, I think. So that goes through there like that, and then you have this comes down the other side and pushes on the end of this collet, and when that piece right there goes down into the back of that cup, it cinches it down so that piece of tungsten's not going anywhere. Here, and then you're supposed to have about the width of the cup sticking out here, so we'll try and get it as close to that as possible. The way I kind of try to think about it is there should be, from this end of the cup to the point to this end of the cup, it should be essentially like a right angle. That's what it looked like to me from everybody else that was doing it. This thing should be assembled and ready to go. It's a trigger type. I don't have a foot switch for this thing, but like I said, I'm just starting out, so we'll see how that ends up. So TIG welding uses an inert gas called argon to shield the weld while the metal is molten from oxygen so that it can produce a stronger weld. I, because of that, had to go and get myself an argon cylinder. On top of the argon cylinder, I needed a flow valve. This I think is a spark flow valve, and it's going to get connected right in there with a little bit of Teflon tape. And then there's a barb fitting adapter that goes down here with a hose that goes out to the welder. So I'm gonna hook this thing up to my argon cylinder and then pipe it on over to the welder. All right, this is the barb adapter that goes onto the pipe threads over there. And what this does is it adapts that fitting that's on there now so that it will accept a standard barb fitting, because once it comes out of there, it's not very high pressure. Once it comes out of that regulator on the argon cylinder. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm supposed to use Teflon tape on this, but I can't imagine that I wouldn't. Go ahead and put this together. Oops, this goes in here first, I think. No, it goes in like that, so okay. So I have to back this off a little bit so that it can be tightened once it gets in there. And then a little Teflon tape on the actual, there's the meter right there, so this goes into this side. So I might as well take this up now. Just throw it on here like that. This threads up in pretty far, and then this takes it the rest of the way. So just gonna tighten this stuff up, and then I could be able to put a hose on that for the barb fitting, because the pressure in this is actually really, really low. The pressure coming out of the cylinder is way, way higher. So this regulates it down, and you let out just a little tiny bit, probably 15 cubic feet, I think, at 50 psi. So yeah, we'll see how that works. I can give it a shot. Hopefully this does everything it's supposed to. We'll see. I'm a little nervous whenever I'm around like these big gas bottles like this, because they're the pressure in them is so freaking crazy, and it makes me a little bit nervous having, like, you know, knowing that there's like 2,000 pounds of pressure inside this bottle is a little nerve-wracking. So let's make sure this is good and tight, not super duper crazy tight, but okay, here it goes. So stand off to the side and see if this thing explodes when I try to turn it on. Oh geez. Okay, that's a good sign, didn't explode. Okay, so now let's see what kind of pressure is there. You can see it on the video. You can't really see it on the video, but down here it says just over 2,000 pounds. Just over 2,000 psi that this little brass doohickey is holding on here. I swear that makes me so freaking nervous. Okay, so I'm gonna open this a little bit to test that ball and see if this does anything. Please don't take off like a rocket ship. Okay. Cool. Okay, that seems to be working perfectly. So we're gonna go ahead and shut the bottle, and we're gonna leave it like this until we're ready to use it. And should be able to start welding from there. So this is the first time I've ever tried this. I gotta turn the gas on. Okay, let's go try that again. So I guess I gotta hold this button and see what it's flowing at and adjust it from there. Okay, that looks like about 15. So I'm gonna bring this across. I'm gonna just try to strike this and just try to make a weld puddle and go across. How thick? I have no idea. It's like quarter, oh no, 1/8 inch, something like that. Just angle steel. Let's turn it up to, this thing goes to 150. Let's turn it up to 60 and just hit it and see what happens. I gotta admit, I am a little nervous, so let's see what happens. Whew. Okay. That was actually pretty cool. I saw the little cone and everything, that was really cool. But it only melted it a tiny bit. It looked like toward the end it was starting to get through there pretty good. So let's give that another shot. I'll turn it up a little bit from 60. Let's go to 85 and try to go across the whole thing and see what happens. Looks like it was starting to melt it. And it got it really good at the end. The gas though. You can hear it going. Okay. So that's the timer at the end, is what this thing is. How long the gas keeps flowing once you're done. One problem is when I hit the button, it really fires out a lot of gas initially, and it shoots a little metal like across to the side. Here, let's hang this here, shut the cameras off, and take a second to just relax here and think about what I'm doing. Okay, this time we're gonna try it on 90 amps and see if I can't put down a little filler metal in there with it. I've certainly never done this before. I cut one of these rods in half. This is for mild steel. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are or anything. But let's just go ahead and get right to it and see what happens here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Woo! Okay. Here goes nothing. Well, that stuff is hot. Need a lot more practice. Gonna need a lot more practice. Alright, so I shut off the camera and I just started messing around with stuff. This is a piece of scrap metal I got. It was ripped right down the middle and the pieces lined up pretty well right along here. So I figured I would try to put it together and weld it. I'm still getting used to what the amperage settings should be and the gas flow and all that stuff. This looks terrible, like looks absolutely awful, but one thing is it is absolutely solid. If you try to bend this, it bends, you know, just as if it was one solid piece. I did get that stuff's kind of good right there, and down underneath is kind of okay. Over here is a little bit okay. So I don't think I did terrible. But these are literally the first welds I've ever done trying to put something together. Butt welds, I guess. And, you know, I can only get better from here. So that's what it looks like. And we're just going to keep on keeping on and see where it goes. And that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my journey, learning how to TIG weld. It's something that I'm enjoying so far. I think I'm going to be doing it for a while. I'm sorry if some of the camera shots were a little blurry. I'm working with a brand new camera and I'm not really used to it yet, so if any of the shots were out of focus, I'm sorry about that. I'm working on it. There wasn't a whole lot about the car in this video, but that's going to change here pretty soon. I've got big plans for the car, something I'm going to be talking more about really soon. The first goal that I had was to make the car street legal, and I got a second goal lined up, which I'm going to be letting you know about in a future video. If you guys are enjoying the videos, please subscribe. I think we're at about it's around 290 now, about 50 more subscribers than when I started a few months ago. So if you guys want to be part of that journey, go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to get up there to 1,000 is my next goal. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.